Welcome in, everybody, to another live edition of this week's preview show. 410 Sports Talk here. Myself, James Haskell, along with Glenn Martin and DK in the background running the show. We are excited to talk about this divisional matchup between the Baltimore Ravens and the Cleveland Browns. There's a lot to talk about, of course, Glenn. I mean, the return of Deshaun Watson, the divisional matchup, what's on the line for the Ravens, what's on the line for the Browns. So many things to get into. But first, how's your Thursday?
It's going pretty good. The first round of fantasy playoffs likely started for everyone. So this is an exciting night as we see San Fran taking on Seattle tonight. This is the first game. I'm sure that'll help determine who wins and loses their fantasy matchup. So good luck to all those who made their fantasy playoffs. Unfortunately, me and Jimmy were not one of them.
That's why people want to play fantasy with us. They just want to take our money.
I can't believe it, dude. I had the second highest scoring team in the league, and I missed the playoffs because I got everyone's best shot, Jimbo.
Yeah, well, when you talk the talk at the draft, that's just kind of what happens.
Well, that ain't going to change. I got news for you. But, yeah, this is an exciting game. It's a big-time game for the Ravens coming up as they look to, further kind of cement themselves in the playoffs, but more importantly, continue to chase that AFC North title as the Bengals are not giving them any room for error. And the pressure's certainly on. So this is an exciting matchup. Of course, the Cleveland Browns got back their franchise quarterback. Deshaun Watson returned to their lineup 2 weeks ago against his former team. So this isn't going to be the same matchup that we saw when the Ravens took on the Browns earlier in the season when they beat the Browns 23-20. That was with Jacoby Brissett under center, not Deshaun Watson. So this could be a much different looking offense for sure this time around.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you spoke to it. Two different quarterbacks, two different expectations for those quarterbacks. So it's going to be interesting to kind of look at the tale of two stories and get you guys prepped for this game and understand what to expect. But I think the best place for us to start, Glenn, is really going to be who's going to be out there, who's not. I know that, we want to get into health, as we talk about that. Obviously, I think the most important thing is we know who our quarterback's going to be. We obviously know, and we knew Lamar Jackson isn't coming back this week, right? So Lamar's been declared out, and Tyler Huntley has been a full participant in practice. I think DK is going to throw up the injury report here in a second on the screen, but I think that's the best place to start, right? So we know it's going to be Tyler Huntley, and we'll hope he doesn't get another big hit that knocks him out of this game coming up. But how's that make you feel? How much does that change the outlook of this game, knowing that Huntley's got a full week of practice ahead of him and that he's going to be the one out there under center?
Oh, I mean, it's a world of different. I mean, you got to respect what Anthony Brown did. He come in, his first NFL snaps ever were in the closed end of Pittsburgh Stadium. Almost called it Heinz Field. In the closed end of Pittsburgh Stadium on his own 1 yard line with the game on the line and knowing that our passing game left a little bit to be desired. And what do? They throw it right out of the end zone, pick up 5 yards, and the rest is history. So while I respect what he did there, it's no doubt that it's so much better to have Tyler Huntley. Not only does he have all the experience he gained from last year, but he's just so much further along in his development as a passer. And also as a defensive unit, the first thing a defense is going to do when you bring in a backup quarterback is they're going to say, all right, I'm assuming that the offensive staff on the other side is going to emphasize what that guy does well and try and hide some of his deficiencies. So the first thing you do when you turn on the tape and looking at a team using a backup quarterback and you go, all right, what are they going to do? Because this guy obviously has deficiencies. So they're going to play to his strengths. And so the next game is that much more important to kind of make sure you're staying ahead of that and throwing in those wrinkles. So I think that would have been really difficult to do with a guy like Anthony Brown.
Yeah.
Who's got so much left to work on, where Tyler Huntley is at least 1 year further along, has that experience he gained last year. And I think it'll make it easier for the offensive staff to devise a game plan.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think I would agree with you 100%. As far as this list goes, you guys can see who's out here, or as far as who's on the list. But I think the one I really want to highlight is Kevin Zeitler, of course, who has only missed 2 games in his 8-year career. Glad to see that he's back at practice, all week. He was either limited, and then, of course, today was a full participant. And he's going to be out there. Sounded like he was really close in this previous game, but decided not to take the risk, and we're really glad to have him back. I think he might be playing his best football of his career right now. And so happy to have him back. The way Ben Powers has been playing along with Kevin Zeitler, those three up front in the middle, along with our bookends when they're both healthy. I think our offensive line has an argument, as far as one of the top offensive lines in the NFL.
Oh, yeah.
When
Ronnie's there?
Right, exactly. When Ronnie's there, and then, of course, you got a healthy Zeitler. And like I said, I mean, with the improvement of Ben Powers, it's just been astronomical and really awesome. And then, obviously, we got the young boy in the middle who might end up making a Pro Bowl in his first year in the NFL in Tyler Linderbaum. So exciting to have Zeitler back. Really happy about that in this physical matchup moving forward. And just like you mentioned, Ronnie already came back, but no setbacks there. So we're really happy for his continued health moving forward. Any other names there, Glenn, you think are noteworthy or someone we should keep an eye on?
I think it looks all pretty good to me. I mean, it is interesting to see Marcus Peters continue to basically not practice.
Yeah.
And then play on
JPP
Sundays. Yeah. So that's kind of interesting. But no, I mean, this looks pretty good to me. I mean, I'm happy because really the only guys that I see that are at risk, I mean, is Lamar Jackson, and that's no surprise. So, it's a pretty good looking injury report outside of number 8. Let's see here. Laura has a comment. She says, do you guys find it annoying that Queen and Roquan do not get the same attention that other linebackers do in the media? Well, maybe I don't consume enough of the national media because I just realized that it's better to get local information
kind
because
of a bunch of knuckleheads.
Yeah, I mean the national they're responsible to cover all 32 teams. So how can they have a really in-depth look? So I kind of take what they say with a grain of salt, but I will say around locally, these boys are getting tons of attention.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I was watching film on what they do, and I just can't imagine. There was a play where they were both up in the A gap.
Yep.
On either side of the center. And one of them's coming, the other one's dropping. Of course, they both fake like they're coming, then the other one drop. The center has no chance. He's basically holding his arms out, and they run right through him like a turnstile. These guys are it's amazing how well they're playing together. It's almost like the sum of the group is better than the individual parts, certainly in the case for Pat Queen, but it might even be the case for Roquan, who's already had a ton of individual success. They just play off each other at such a high and incredible rate. And they just seem like they really like each other. There's just a bond growing like that between these two guys. I hope and pray that the Ravens can somehow find a way to at least pick up that 5th-year option for Pat Queen next year, because I want to see another year of that duo in the middle. They're phenomenal.
Yeah, they are. And I mean, no slight to them. To answer Laura's question, just like you said, I mean, the biggest thing to me is I want contractually, I want the Ravens to be able to get it done. So I'm not upset that they're not getting a ton of national media, but I think that, to your point, Glenn, it really just speaks the Roquan effect. He's a really impressive communicator. You can tell
almost obnoxious, they call it. He communicates so much, it's obnoxious, but that's a good thing.
Right. And it's not only the volume, though. You can tell in his decisiveness and his articulation, the way he says, he tells you what he wants and what he needs, right? He's very clear about it and very direct. And a part of that is because he's holding himself to the same expectations. So, if somebody wants to call him on the carpet, go ahead. But, you better be outworking him and outperforming him if you're going to call him to the carpet. So I think a lot of that is just him being able to help PQ come along and give him what he wants and how they can work, together. So it's really exciting to see their progression, and it's just about at the right time, right? I mean, we're clear into December football, getting into playoff football. So we want it to continue to improve. But good question, Laura. Let's move along here, Glenn, to kind of talk about these units. Let's talk about the Browns defense. This is usually where we start with the opponent's defense against our offense.
Yeah.
A Huntley led offense. So I'm excited to give you guys the lowdown on this defense.
Hey, by the way, Jimbo, what's up with that hat? Getting some love in the chat, dude.
Yeah, you know what this hat is, don't you? This is the main flag.
Is that what it is? Okay.
Yes,
I didn't know. All right. Shout out. Did you get that in Acadia?
Yeah, I got that. This is actually when we were in Ellsworth, when you guys were at the vintage candy store.
Nice.
I just popped over and grabbed this hat.
Got you. Cool.
Yes, sir.
All right. So are we talking Cleveland's defense? Are you talking? What do you want me to go over? Or you got it?
Let's see. All right. Yeah. Let me dig into some things from
go ahead.
the Cleveland defensive perspective. Now they got some boys over there. It's kind of where I'm going to start before I get into the stats. And being that it's divisional rival, there's a lot of names that we already know. Obviously Garrett, Clowney, Delpit, Ward, like they got bodies over there. One notable absence for them will be JOK, the inside linebacker. He will always be known to me as the inside linebacker that injured Lamar Jackson.
He's no doubt that he was drafted as the Lamar Jackson stopper.
For sure. Really, really fast kid, sideline to sideline, super athletic. So, he's not going to be out there. He's been declared out for the rest of the season. I believe he opted for surgery or something of that nature. So he's been declared out for the rest of the year. But this defense, as it stands, let me give you some rankings and some statistics, really fun stuff here. All right. So this defense is, I won't belabor it any longer here.
Are you sure?
Defense, yep, I won't. This defense is not do you have the rank?
Yeah, I got everything.
What is the ranking for them?
Well, in points, they ranked 27th. They averaged 24.8 points per game. Not very good. Yards per game, they give up 344, which is 17th. They give up third down conversions.
Yeah.
This is where they're actually pretty good. 36%. That's 6th in the league. And I'm sure, Myles Garrett is a big part of that. Red zone scoring percentage. They give up a touchdown on 56% of the opponent's red zone trips, which is 18th in the league. They're 16th against the run. They give up, 22nd against the run. They give up 128 yards per game on the ground. And then in the passing game, they are 16th. They give up 215 in the air.
So I appreciate that. I went down to the preview doc and where the rankings are at. And this one, ESPN decided to leave the rankings out. I don't know if you noticed that, but I was like, oh, sweet. Way to leave me high and dry.
But scrambling. That's why you have a co-host, Jimbo.
That's true. I appreciate that. At the end of the day, my thoughts on this defense is that they got guys and they're familiar with this team. So it's going to be a fight. And obviously Tyler Huntley's under center. But it's a relatively mediocre defense. Like statistically speaking, I don't know if there's a ton of stuff that has me overly worried or concerned, except for the guys on paper. Like that has me. Garrett is obviously always someone to be reckoned with. Clowney out there, hyper athletic guys. They got some physical guys on the back end that can get it done as well. So, gonna be an interesting matchup. But I think the reason is if our offense struggles, it will be outside of anything externally from their team, it would be because of the familiarity they have with this team.
Yeah. Well, I think I know where the Ravens could be in big trouble.
Where's that?
If I'm the Cleveland Browns, we're going to do everything in our power to stop your run game.
Sure.
We are going to leave our corners on complete islands against your receivers because we think, as the Cleveland defense, if we can stop your run, you're in big, big trouble because they got some talented corners. I mean, they got first-round picks all over the place on their defense. They got Denzel Ward. What was he, the number 6 pick in the draft or number 4 pick in the draft? Uber talented, can absolutely cover. They got Greg Newsome, first-round pick in a couple years ago. He can absolutely cover. They got some good safeties with John Johnson, Grant Delpit. They got some guys that can cover, but they struggle stopping the run. However, if I'm a defensive player for the Browns, I'm saying let them beat us through the air if they're gonna, because they weren't playing, they weren't hitting on all cylinders in the passing game with Lamar, and they still don't have Lamar. So I can't imagine that, they're getting leaps and bounds better with their backup quarterback in the passing game. So that's what's got me concerned. If they can shut down the run attack, they're going to turn it loose against him.
Right.
The pass
they can really make him pay. Yeah.
That's what's got me concerned, Jimbo.
Now, let me ask you this to rebut your concern here. Isn't that what the Steelers and arguably every other team is trying to do?
Oh, 100%. So, like Stanley said, everyone knew they were going to run it, and they did it anyway. And that's the ultimate credit to the offensive line and the rest of those guys. But if they can slow down, because here's the thing, they're going to blitz their linebackers. They're going to try and shoot any gaps. They're going to try and get some tackles for loss. But the encouraging thing is this, Jimbo, because I look at their last few games and I say, who have they played since really the switch to quarterback to Deshaun Watson? I look at just last week, I think this was when they played the Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals are not a strong running team, certainly not
Right.
this year, to the point where their fans are literally calling for Mixon to be benched for Samaje Perine, and we heard it ourselves firsthand. Well, Joe Mixon went 14 carries for 96 yards against this Browns defense, averaged nearly 7 yards per carry.
Mm-hmm.
Samaje Perine, in a much more limited role, had 4 carries for 22 yards, averaged 5.5 a carry. So that's the encouraging thing. If Joe Mixon and Samaje Perine can go absolutely bonkers, now that is with the threat of Joe Burrow throwing the ball over your head to all those weapons, where, by the way, Jamar Chase had 10 catches in that game. But still, nonetheless, if I see success from the Bengals run game, I got to imagine that the Ravens are going to have similar or better success.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think it really comes down to the talent that we got up front and then obviously in the backfield. So that's why, like, initially I thought the same thing and was like, all right, you know, if they can get it done, but I don't know who can get it done as far as stopping this run. I don't know, this Steelers game did so much for me as far as building my confidence up in not only the team's ability to get it done, because think about it, Zeitler was out. And then Romans, I think Tyler has forced him not to get too cute. So it's like a blessing in disguise.
Yeah.
Right? Because he's like, okay, well, this is what I have. Lamar Jackson's not under center, so we're going to run it 42 times, type thing, right? Because he just took the 2 pages he's got in the playbook that are passes and he went, and he just threw it out the window and said, forget about it, right? So anyway, I think that
well, to also, even with Lamar, Jimbo, first time they played, Lamar threw it 16 times. We ran it 44 times.
Right.
So they did it earlier.
So it's going to be 80,000 runs in two.
I mean, right? That was the first game we saw Gus. He had 16 carries, 66 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
Right. Yeah,
that was the first game. We didn't even have JK. We didn't have Ronnie Stanley.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean,
think of the difference that guy's going to make.
All right. There's a lot of wind in our sails as far as probability of success in the run game. All right, Glenn.
Oh my God. Look, eventually you're going to put 2 N's on my name. Eventually. I mean, every time
Glenn, you got to refuse. You got to refuse to turn it. No, you got to refuse.
I'm not shying away.
You got to refuse until they put the 2 N's on it, bro.
No, I'm doing it. I'm a gamer. Okay. I don't know what type of activities are being, I don't know what's up with this, but, yeah, I'm a gamer. All right. What's going on, Fly Looking Yo? I appreciate you coming in. We'd be seeing you in there.
Yeah.
Silent observer.
Oh gosh, it's getting worse. He's telling you now to read it out loud.
Read what out loud?
The comment.
Start her up, boys. I think you know what time it is. Glenny Boo haircut check.
Oh gosh. I'm getting concerned.
I'm getting concerned too.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I'm not really sure where this is going. But all right, let's get back to the matchup.
Yeah, so absolutely. So we talked about their defense, and you just started to get into our offense. We talked about the health of the O-line, the health of the running back room. So talk to me about how our offense, and you even, broke down the run game. Shed some more light on this offense as far as the matchup against this mediocre defense.
Yeah, so currently the Ravens offensively ranked 12th, 23 points per game. They average 347 yards per game, which is 14th. On the ground, they average 162.2, which is second in the league. Who's first? Who the hell is first if we're second? Is it the Bears or who? Because of Justin Fields. Who the hell is outrunning this team? Maybe the Cowboys? I don't even know. But yeah, check if you don't mind, check that out for me. And then passing, the Ravens average 180.
I think it's the Niners.
Oh, okay, makes sense. Yep, I understand that. That's certainly with since what's his name?
McCaffrey.
Since McCaffrey got there, oh my gosh, he's gone well over 100 every single game. Dude looks unstoppable. He was on my fantasy team.
Yeah, I know, and I still beat you.
Look, I don't want to hear it. Okay. He didn't make the playoffs either. both a couple of fantasy losers. But yeah, I mean, it's hard to talk about this team overall when you look at their rankings because the majority of this had Lamar Jackson under center, and they're a very different looking offense, even with Tyler Huntley. But what I will say is, I think the fact that J.K. is in this matchup and wasn't in the first one is a massive difference. Ronnie Stanley, we already know how big. I mean, that guy is literally like second most important guy on the team behind Lamar Jackson. And at this point, I think some could argue, in certain situations, he might be even more, in the sense that he unlocks our run game to the point where Anthony Brown could be at quarterback and the other team knows you're running it and you can still run the damn ball because they're just that good. A quick question for you, Jimbo.
What's up?
With the success we saw of the Cologne-Cleveland combo at right guard, any chance we see some Cleveland this week, even with the return of Kevin Zeitler?
No chance.
Zero chance.
No. I mean, I think you got Kevin Zeitler is an absolute cog right there.
But I mean, in nowhere, like you don't
like
see
left
him
guard or something like
sharing
that.
with Ben.
Maybe
or
when we go heavy and there's like you want to put him in as an.
Well, that I don't even count. If you could bring extra linemen,
you bring him in, sure.
But you don't see him doing any time sharing. Okay, all right. Just
goal line where he's the fullback and Pat Ricard is the running back. How about that? Could you imagine,
dude? That's intense. Yeah. That's pretty intense. But yeah, for me, this offense comes down to, if you can't run the ball, can you win a one-on-one?
Oh, sorry, you were right, Glenn. It is the Bears. I apologize.
Okay, so a lot of that's Justin Fields, which we certainly can understand when your quarterback is your lead ball carrier.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think to me it comes down to, can the Ravens run it when the Browns know they have to? If they can, it's going to be a long day for the Browns. If they can't, could be a long day for Tyler Huntley and this passing offense. That's what's got me concerned, because if they find a way to slow down this run game, I just wonder how we can protect Tyler Huntley and win the one-on-ones on the outside.
Yeah, well, you don't have to wonder. We're not going to get there.
Okay, you have ultimate confidence in our run game, huh?
Absolutely. If a Mike Tomlin led defense, if he cannot will his team to stop this rushing attack, I don't know how many people can. Or how many teams can, right? So maybe our own defense, and I don't even know if then. So I'm not crazy concerned about it. But Glenn, let's talk about our offensive keys and our breakout players. I'm gonna go first on this one, and I've decided to stay consistent with my offensive keys. And my offensive key is sticking to the run.
Is it going to be this every week?
No, I mean, no. You have to, though. You have to get the tough yards when it's predictable. You just talked about it. What Ronnie said, everyone is saying. You don't have a choice. You got to get it done, right? You got to outgrind them. You got to out physical them. You got to beat them up front. And with that said, you talked about this. Gus kind of broke out in that last game we played against them. Gus is my breakout player of the game. I think Gus is going to dominate. I think he will reassert himself as people obviously love Gus, but JK kind of got all the pub this past week, and he's fine with it. Like, they do so well together, but I think he gets a little love himself this week. And the reason why I'm going with Gus and not JK is because those guys on the outside are known as athletes, not like absolute, physically. No, not physically. What am I trying to say? They're not. I don't consider them like garbage men, right?
Who's this?
Clowney and Myles Garrett. I think they would get tired of a guy like Gus Edwards hitting him in the mouth in the second half faster than maybe some other guys at that position. So I think the second half, Gus really gets rolling downhill and pops some long ones. Long ones for Gus, like 15 yards.
Yeah, I think he's got a little in it, but I will say Clowney is playing just as he always has, fantastic against the run.
He certainly does. I guess what I'm saying, though, is like inside their heads as former number one picks, it's like,
they want to rush the passer, no doubt.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's just
of course,
dang it. You know what I'm saying?
That's not fun for them.
Yeah, it's like taking a Ferrari and putting it in a what are those? A demolition derby.
Yeah, it doesn't. That's not. Yeah, that's not. They like pinning their ears back and getting after the passer, and that's how they make their money. So yeah, let's hope that the Ravens can stay out of those third and longs. But to me, the key to me is you got to win a one-on-one on the outside. There's going to come a point in this game where they're going to force you into third and long, and you got to show that you can complete something through the air in a situation where it's too long to run. You got to. You absolutely have to. I need to see look, I'm sure everyone's seen it. The clips on Twitter, or if you watched it live, where Dan Orlovsky, broke down some of these route trees and route combinations, and there was a lot of people in one like
Quadrant.
7 yard area. Like
Mm-hmm.
there was like 4 guys. It's like that's completely unacceptable. It's hard to know. I mean, quickly jump to scheme and we go, what? But it's like, damn, I find it almost impossible to believe that that's how the play was designed and that somebody didn't run the wrong route. But whatever the case is, we got to get open and you got to make a catch against a one-on-one. And then my breakout is going to, because of that, is going to be Demarcus Robinson, because I think he's the only guy right now that's shown he can do that on the outside with Bateman out and with Duvernay pulling the disappearing act on offense.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's a good one. And going to be really interesting to see how reliant
he's our number
they
one,
are.
dude.
Yeah.
Like, clear and obvious. Behind, Mark Andrews, but as a receiver,
He's a receiver.
Yeah, it's him. It's him. But let's get into this new look Cleveland Browns offense. Yeah. The return of Deshaun Watson from suspension has made a few changes in this offense. They're not the same one we saw back earlier this year when Jacoby Brissett was at quarterback. So, Jimbo, who's some guys that they really got to look at? I have the stats if you need me to.
Yeah, I'll give you some guys, and then if you want to run through those stats. I mean, obviously, just like you mentioned it, Deshaun Watson and Nick and Nick. No, what's up? What did I do? Oh yeah, Deshaun. That's his new name. Deshaun Watson. And obviously, you talk about guys like Nick Chubb. You got Amari Cooper, you got Kareem Hunt, you got David Njoku and Peoples-Jones as the long threat. So once again, similar to the defense, when you suck for almost 3 entire decades, you're going to compile picks, therefore compiling names on your roster. Or if you want to decide to pay a serial pervert $235 million fully guaranteed, it's another way to get some names on your roster. So there's names out there. And look, we know, I got to admit it, man. I hate watching Chubb play for the Browns.
He's so good.
I wish he were a Raven.
Man, he's so good.
Could you imagine him in purple in this system? He might be.
He break the record for sure.
Yeah, he might be. I don't know. This might be blasphemous. He might be the most talented back in the league, in my opinion. I don't know. I know a lot of people are going to say
strictly as a runner only.
Yeah, right. I mean, you talk about other guys that are dual threats. And you talk about
McCaffrey,
CMC and stuff like that. But man, as a traditional.
It's him and Derrick Henry, in my opinion.
Yeah, and so anyway, all that said, they got some guys. And Njoku is obviously also serves as they're very similar, DK. I mean, that's a good point. I feel like it is a resurrection of Jamal Lewis. But I also got to say, Njoku, while he's a tight end, he serves as a vertical threat outside of Peoples-Jones. If I'm not mistaken, I think he is leading their team in average yards per reception right now.
Who's this?
Njoku.
Well, he leads their team in yak yards, despite the fact that he's played in 3 less games than almost everyone else.
Yeah, that's crazy.
The dude is a matchup problem.
Yeah, 100%. So, and then obviously Kareem Hunt is a talented back, and Amari Cooper is well talented himself. Now, Nick Chubb, you talked about this offense kind of changing. Nick Chubb has not run for over 100 yards in 3 weeks. So certainly not trending towards their strengths, but you just really never know as far as that goes. But what do you have, Glenn? You mentioned before the show started, you got to kind of really focus on the games that Deshaun has been here. What are the differences you've seen statistically from the time Deshaun's been here in comparison to Brissett?
Yeah, well, I mean, they obviously are looking to pass the ball more. They're spreading teams out more, which is really affecting their run game in a big way. I think that's why we're seeing Chubb's numbers dip in a big way. I mean, this guy last week, Nick Chubb, went 14 carries, 34 yards. That's not, just as a reference, going up against a far better run defense in the Baltimore Ravens earlier this year, he had 16 carries for 91 yards and a touchdown. So it's affecting their run game, their change in kind of the philosophy on offense, where they're spreading guys out. They're trying to get the ball down the field. They're trying to take advantage of Deshaun Watson and his talent, difference over Jacoby Brissett. But the problem is he's been off for 720 days. Mm-hmm. He doesn't have a full, grasp on this system yet, because he was not able to even practice until a few weeks back. Like he wasn't even allowed to participate. So I think a lot of rust is still being knocked off. there's a confidence issue with Deshaun Watson that, he's got to somehow try and get that back. If you're a fan of the Browns, I hope it certainly doesn't start this week. But their offense,
I hope it never starts.
Yeah, well, I'm with you there. But I think this offense is still kind of trying to search for its identity with Deshaun as their quarterback. And it's not as obvious with him, because with Brissett, it was like, we run the ball to set up, occasional passing. This is very different. So yeah, it's kind of interesting to see how this is all going to play out. But Asad Rahman says Deshaun Watson is gold. Rowe and PQ taking care of Chubb. Yeah, absolutely. It's going to come down to, it really could come down to, who can stop the other team's run game better? Because even though they do spread you out, they still try and do the same stuff. They still try and do the zone blocking and they try and hit the outside zone run all the time. But I just don't see how the hell they're going to be able to move this front for the Ravens and contain those two linebackers, like Assad is saying, with PQ and Rowe playing the way they're playing. I just don't see how the hell they're going to be able to clear any lanes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you 100% there. It's a tall task and a lot for them to ask. And I'm excited to watch Marshawn back there floundering to see who ends up, benefiting in the sack category. So I'm looking forward to that, because he's going to try and do his thing back there and make some things happen, as he's given the opportunity to do so. But let's talk about some defensive keys, Glenn. Actually, let's talk about our defense as a whole before I decide to absolutely skip that entire part of our show. So one thing I got to mention, shout out to Marcus Williams. He still leads our team in interception. He hasn't played since I got a haircut.
Well, he played last week and got one.
Well, I mean, like previous to that though, right? Like got the
yeah.
interception. All the dude does is get interceptions, but
what an addition he is, man.
Yeah, man. And a steal at that price, if he keeps playing the way he's playing. It's absolutely awesome to watch. But let me give you some stats here on your Baltimore Ravens defense. All right. So our let me see here. All right. So our defense is allowing shade under 20 points a game right now at 19.2. And if I'm not mistaken, Glenn, that's trended down. I think it was in the mid 20s. Right. I mean, yeah, I think it was much higher earlier on the season. So that's trending in the right direction. Third down efficiency, I think, is also
it's amazing.
Yeah, exactly. 32% on third down is what they're allowing, as far as the conversion rate. Yards per carry, they're at 3.8, and rushing yards per game, they're allowing 81.
Dude, they average literally double on offense. It's crazy.
It's so awesome to watch, man.
That differential's got to be like, I would love to know the best differential between yards allowed on the ground and average yards gained on the ground, because 81's got to be somewhere up there in the records.
Yeah, absolutely. Now they are allowing 250 a game in the air. But like I talked about at the beginning, they are also getting their hands on the football. If I'm not mistaken, it looks like here we have 9 interceptions this year, or 14.
See, the one I'm on only gives me my turnover differential. I know we're +7.
Yeah, so it's a good number either way. We're +7 in the turnover ratio. So the Ravens defense really has done a great job this year bouncing back and getting their hands on the football.
I'm thinking about it like this, Jimbo. They're top 5 against the run.
Yep.
Top 5 in sacks.
Yep.
Top 5 in turnovers.
I mean,
what?
What else can you ask for, right?
Yeah, and by the way, top 5 in third down.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
holy smokes.
Yeah, and I tell you what, Glenn, I think that when it comes to 14 interceptions, second in the league, there you go, awesome. When it comes to the beneficiaries of this game, I think that I'm going to give it in reverse order. I think you might think this is a prayer, but I think Odafe Owe does something in this game. I think he does something of consequence. More than a sack, I think he gets a strip sack in this game. Odafe Owe, I think that Marshawn is going to be back there circling around, trying to do his thing. Might get kicked in the face by a foot, but this time he's not going to get away with it. And Odafe is going to hunt him down and get a strip sack. I'm calling it this game. He's my breakout defensive player. And my key defensively is to play clean. If you remember last week, there was a drive that comes to my mind where we had two penalties that were, what were they? Just offsides penalties. Yeah, like neutral zone infractions penalties, back to back, or if not, they were at least in the same drive. So got to play clean. If there's anything that can keep a team alive when you have a dominant defense, is hurting yourself. And so I think, the Ravens, even though they have so much so much pressure on them defensively, I think job number one has to simply be play clean, don't hurt yourself, outside of simply executing, but don't let the ref change the day for us defensively.
Yeah, that's a good point. Absolutely, because last week we had a few penalties. Now some of them were head scratchers, and I think the Ravens players have every reason to be a little upset about some of those calls. But nonetheless, they extended drives, they ended drives to some degree, and so they got to get better. To me, when I look at this matchup, I like to think that they're going to try and attack what they saw happen last week. And what they saw happen last week was some contested catches made over Marlon Humphrey. And they saw a tight end in Dulcich that had some pretty good or 2 weeks ago in Dulcich, and then last week in Pat Freiermuth. So back-to-back weeks, we saw a tight end be kind of a big thorn in the side. And so now these were not like wide open. These are some of these were very tight coverage, including the touchdown to Freiermuth. But we're seeing success to the tight end, and we're seeing balls get thrown deep. So I look at defensively, I'm looking at Donovan Peoples-Jones because he's their deep ball threat on the outside, and we've seen him do that. We've seen that he had a fantastic punt return earlier this season. The guy is definitely has some electricity to his game, and you got to watch out for him. And then Amari Cooper, I think they're going to try at least a handful of times, or maybe not quite a handful, but they're going to try and test Marlon Humphrey to see if they can get some contested catches over him. And then Njoku, watch out for Njoku. If Freiermuth can get off, if Dulcich can get off, then you kind of get worried about what Njoku can do. But of course, Kyle Hamilton's playing at an all-time high right now. I think he's playing his absolute butt off, and I think he'll be a big part of hopefully slowing down David Njoku. And so I'm counting on him. But as far as my breakout player and keys to the game, my breakout player is Marlon Humphrey, man. I think they're gonna he admitted, he said he had a rough game last week, and I think he's gonna expect that they're gonna test him. So I think he gets his hands on the ball and he ends up pulling one down. I think it's gonna be might not be the cleanest, might not jump a route and take it the other way, but I think he'll have some hand fight and the ball pop up and he ends up with it. So he's my breakout player. And then defensive key, don't let any balls get thrown over your head. Just can't have those big chunk plays because I get that, the number one key every week is stop the run, but certainly it's the case this week. But I just can't see, unless Chubb just goes absolutely like Super Saiyan on us, I just don't see how they get the movement. And I don't know how they slow down those linebackers the way they're playing. So don't let any balls get thrown over your head. And Marlon Humphrey's my guy this week.
Like it a lot. And I'm looking forward to this game. It's going to be a lot of fun. Let's see. I think there's another super chat in here, right? Sean Pisker threw one up here. I'm not going to lie. PQ has grown on me this season, kind of hoping he stays if he can keep playing this way. Glenn, you mentioned it, hoping to find a way that they can pick up his option. And at least have another year of them playing together. Look, at the end of the day, they got to figure out Roquan's situation. And I think that comes first.
Yeah.
But, because we only have one franchise tag that we can offer, and we have two guys that are going into the end of their contracts with Lamar Jackson and Roquan. So they have to figure one of them out. It just is what it is, right? So
if they get an extension with Lamar, I think that would help because if they have to tag him, that cap number is going to be massive. So let's hope that they can come to an agreement. But Jimbo, I just want to point this out and kind of give a little bit of a shout out. Kyle Williams last week played 91% of the snaps. We did a video a few weeks back where his snap count.
Wait, Kyle Hamilton?
Or Kyle Hamilton, sorry.
Yeah,
what did I say? Kyle Williams?
Yeah.
I don't know where the hell that came from. But we did a video of like a month and a half ago where his snap count was going every week down. And he was getting put in roles where they were basically hiding him. Shout out to him for putting in the work and turning himself into an integral part of this defense. He played 91% of the snaps last week. That is absolutely incredible. He's
done some nice things on special teams as well.
Absolutely. I mean, he's become an absolute shutdown tackler in the flats, which is a lot of times where you see it
so much faster, right?
It's amazing. And then his ability to play in the slot. I mean, he's basically making Pepe Williams a healthy scratch because he's been so good in the slot. And then obviously his work against tight ends has been unbelievable with his length, his athleticism, his height. He's just he's a perfect chess piece, and I'm just glad that he's getting more and more comfortable, and that Mike McDonald's finding a way to take advantage of that ability he has. Because man, he's a difference maker.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's a great point you bring up. So I'm glad you gave him a shout out there. All right, let's move on to the most exciting part of the show, the one where I win the most.
And
that would be our competition, of course.
DK, you need to update that graphic so I can flex my because I know I'm still highest in accuracy rate.
How's your win-loss record?
It feels like fantasy football, Jimbo, all over again.
Why are you the common denominator in these situations?
The best team,
I'm just wondering,
doesn't always win, Jimbo. And this in this competition we have here is further proof of that. If it was the best, then I'd win every week.
Well, you know what the really cool thing about sports is, Glenn? It's binary, right? You either win or lose.
Oh, is that what that word means?
Yeah, it's one or the other.
Okay, dumb it down for me next time.
Right? Like, it's just one or the other. You are what the scoreboard says you are.
Well, according to the scoreboard, I'm the best.
According to the scoreboard, you have 2 wins.
But I have the highest score and the best accuracy percentage.
But those mean nothing, apparently, because that means you would have the most wins.
Look, there's still how many weeks left? I'm coming for you. All right, I'm coming for you. And by season's end, I won't only have the best score and best accuracy, I'll have the most wins as well.
We'll see. We'll see how it goes. You know, my accuracy's gone up a little bit lately as well. I'm coming for that number.
The worst point differential.
Wait, no. The worst point differential.
He's just busting my chops. You know, he's talking what we were talking about before we went live.
Okay. I didn't even see his banner. I'm too busy looking at the percentages. I didn't see his banner down the bottom.
Oh, yeah. DK taking shots at me. That's okay. I'm coming for you guys.
That's
I'm like right now, I'm like the opposite of the Minnesota Vikings.
Well, you don't got to go anywhere. You're already equal with DK, so I don't know how much of a leg he's got to stand on.
This guy, he's really feeling himself, isn't he, DK? All right, back to reality. This week's show is, of course, our competition is brought to us by Prize Picks.
Yep.
We realize that they're still working their way into Maryland. But
yeah, if you want to know how to gamble, just DM us.
But if you live outside of Maryland, Jimbo, then please go to Prize Picks, enter promo code 410. They'll match up to your first $100. And the over-unders they're running, it's like they're almost trying to give money away. So just pick and choose, and you can literally just be gifted money. So check out Prize Picks.
I'll give you one that I'm going with this week, and that's Jared Goff. I'm taking the over. Goff.
That guy's going nuts lately.
Yeah, he's feeling comfortable, feeling good. Coach loves him, and he's got a lot of confidence in him. So I'm taking the over on Mr. Goff. Okay. And I suggest you guys do the same to triple your money. All right.
There it is. All right, so let's get into our competition. Of course, everybody, we encourage you to participate as well. Simply send us your predictions in a direct message in any of the social media handles you see above my head, or wait for this live session to end and do it in the comments below. Excuse me. DK will announce or come to the week's winner, and we'll announce it next week. So please participate, and you'll get some sweet free swag from 410 Sports Talk. But let's get into it, Jimbo. The first over-under this week is Ravens rushing attempts more or less, Jimbo, than 33.5. Right now, we average 31.5 attempts on the season.
You already lost, bro.
Why?
It's over, dude.
Huh?
You just said it. You done dug your own grave.
Huh?
Because in the first game with Lamar, we ran it 42 times. Now we got Tyler Huntley. You're telling me we're going to run it under 33?
You know, when I answered that, I may not have had all this information. And by the way, I haven't answered nothing yet. So what are you talking about?
Wait a second.
Oh, don't act like I've spoken it into existence. Do you see this button right here?
Here we go. See
what's happening live on Doc?
You sly dog.
Dude, all I'm saying is until I speak it, it's not done.
I like it. I'll give you that one. So you're keeping your hand on your chest.
I'm going under anyway.
Oh, all right.
I'm going under, and here's why, Jimbo, because we ain't going to need that many damn carries because our success is going to be far greater than the first matchup. If you look at our first matchup with the Browns, we rushed it 44 times, but we only did so at a 3.5 per clip. We're going to have better than 3.5 yards per carry this game. Are you out of your mind? So we're not going to need 44 carries because we're going to get the necessary yards with less.
In 34 carries.
And 31. Just like we average per game.
All right, I love it. All right, let's go to the next one.
All right. Demarcus Robinson receiving yards. And you know what I'm taking. I picked him to be my breakout player.
Gosh, why you do this to yourself?
What do you mean? That's just an easy money. This guy, every week, he's our leading pass catcher.
He's going to catch it 6 times, an average of 7 or 5 yards a catch.
Yeah, you better change that. I heard you do a quick math.
Yeah. No, I'm still under. 6 times 7 is still under 50, right?
Oh, hang on.
7 times 7 is 49. 6 times 7 is 42. Jeez, a whiz.
Jimbo thinks he's better than me. All right, I say over because he's going to get one big reception, 35-yarder, and then a couple sprinklings of lower ones. So over.
Like it. All right, let's go to the next one. Ravens total tackles high, over under 7.5 tackles. So what this means, if I understand it correctly, is that an individual player for the Ravens, that player's individual tackles, will one player, Roquan Smith, get over or under 7.5 tackles? And I'm going over. I'm going over here because I think that last week, who was our leader with 6? Was it him?
I think it was Roquan.
Was it Roquan with 6? Maybe
or it might have been Marlon.
Yeah, maybe. But either way, it's a rarity that Roquan is getting under double-digit sacks. Tackles. So I'm going over on this one. Where are you going?
Yeah, I'm going to go over as well. I think it's crazy that, that is – I mean, I get why DK did it. It just doesn't make sense when I look at it right now. Like, we have Roquan and Pat Queen. 7.5 tackles for a guy like Roquan is the first half.
Yeah.
So – the only concern I have is I think the Ravens are going to do really, really good at shutting down the run, which could limit, some of their opportunities to make.
Sure,
tackles.
if the guys don't even get to that level or whatever. Yeah, good.
Exactly, but I'm still going to say over.
Yeah. All right, let's go to the next one. So next one we got, oh, yeah. Well, that's a rarity.
Yeah, but he also had a sack, an interception, and then another pass deflection. So he was busy. All right, next one. Browns rushing yards, over under 125.5, Jimbo. They average 150.
Yeah, well, they ain't averaging 150 against us. Under.
Dang, under. I don't know. No, I agree with you. They're going to go under. They had 70 yards last game against the Bengals.
All signs are trending in the wrong direction for them for the rushing attack.
Yeah. Exactly. So, yeah, I say under as well, but would I be absolutely stunned if Nick Chubb popped one? Nah, wouldn't shock me. So, I could get this one wrong, but our defense is so ridiculously stout right now. I got to have confidence. Under.
100%.
Although, it's interesting. DK says over. Oh, he doesn't like the Ravens. All right, next over-under is, our first tiebreaker is total score over-under. Jimbo, over-under 38. Our totals have been so low, dude.
I know. It's crazy. So I'm going under, though. I'm going under. I think the Ravens win this game 21-13. And I believe that is a 34-point total, putting us under. So I'm going with under on this one for the Baltimore Ravens to get the victory.
All right. Well, I got the Ravens going under as well, also winning. But I just don't see a lot of scoring on either side. I think it's going to be a lot of ball control. Don't be surprised if you see the Ravens with 40 minutes of possession time when this one's over. I think that's how they're hoping for. So for that reason, I just don't think there's going to be a ton of possessions and a ton of quick scores. So I say under as well, but I still think the Ravens, I think it's a very good score prediction you got there, Jimbo. Very impressive.
Yeah. Appreciate,
Yeah.
All right, let's get to the last one here. Total yards for the Ravens, closest to the pin, of course, is our second tiebreaker. So I'm going with 352 for the Baltimore Ravens. I don't think it's going to be an absolute, move it up and down the field like crazy type game, but I'm going to take 352. I think it's a healthy number. What about you?
Yeah, I'm going to go 315. I just peeked at our last total when we met, and it was, we won this game, Jimbo. They won. But the Browns had 336 yards and the Ravens 254 total. So because of that, I'm going to say 315 yards, my lowest prediction of the season. But a win's a win. I don't care if you get 20 yards. Win's a win.
100% with you on that one.
Yeah, so that's it for our over-under competitions. But again, please participate. Wait for the live to be over. Put it in the comments.
Get it in
send
there.
us a message to one of these handles right above my head there.
Yep.
But I see a lot of people predicting a dominant win. If I'm looking in the chat,
they should.
Here. Yeah, people feeling real confident. If they win this week, Jimbo. I mean, right now they're at 99%. Can we go ahead and just 100% playoffs?
Into the playoffs? Yeah, for sure. I mean, you got to at this point. Yeah,
especially
I'm really looking
with
forward
a division win, right?
Big time. So this is a huge game from a momentum perspective. So make sure you guys stay tuned, turn notifications, hit the subscribe button if you haven't yet, if you're new to the show. And also make sure to join us right after the game. Of course, we'll be here to review it with you guys, give us our instant reaction. But
don't forget, it's a Saturday, guys. Saturday game. Don't miss it.
Yeah. To all you guys who came out tonight, James Lee Wiley, Tim Ott, Don C, Living Legend, Weird Looking Yo. I saw Nana in here. Assad Rockman. Let's see. Seblums, Chaos, Pharaoh. Laura, of course. All you guys, appreciate all of it. Glenn's rocking the pigtails. That's right. But I had a blast tonight, Glenn. Oh, Sean Pisker, of course, also. But that's it for us. It's a wrap. We will talk to you guys soon.
See you.